We have had conversations with Dan Beckerman, the CEO of AEG, to give us some additional dates, possibly even for later on this year. So, you know, it's a busy building. It's actually the busiest building in the United States, the Staples Center. So it's very difficult to get dates, but when you do bring a fight here, it just has a unbelievable atmosphere. And I think what we've seen tonight in this great building, I was just actually in Mikey's locker room and I told him what I'm going to tell you guys now, and he had a big smile on his face. We have the Lakers in this building. We have the Clippers in this building. We have the Kings in this building, the hockey team. And now Los Angeles, now the Staples Center, has a new franchise. And the new franchise is Garcia. Mikey Garcia, welcome to Staples Center as the fourth franchise here at Staples Center. I'm sure they're going to want to have him back here whenever they can. So I'd like to have Mikey fight here, as I said, twice a year, and make this his home. And I think, yeah.
Obviously, Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia, that'd be a fight between two great fighters. But is a fight for Mikey realistic with Garcia on the check that fight he made?
Well, you know, I mean, in the end of the day, the fighters can choose who they want to fight. And if they dare to be great, like Mikey keeps on, like with every fight, you know, he's like, give me a more difficult challenge and a more difficult challenge. And I have to tell you, for a while, I was thinking he was joking about, it was like April Fool's Day, you know, like Errol Spence, are you serious? And then I talked to his brother, and he didn't really like it. And I talked to his father, he didn't really like it. But you know, when you see performances like today, when he does, what he does is make great champions, undefeated champions. You know, what he did with tonight, his performance makes him look ordinary, and that's what Mikey does. And Mikey is just an amazing fighter. But we're going to talk about that later. It's a pleasure for me to welcome the Easters, Robert Easter here. Always going to be a champion in my books. I told you guys he came to fight. He certainly did. He came in superb condition. I know you had a long and hard training camp, and you came here to go home with 2 belts. That didn't happen, but I think you came here and you won a lot of fans. You won a lot of fans, and as I said, you and your dad, you guys are absolute class acts. The way you handle yourself and the way, with the professionalism you displayed tonight, it was a hell of a fight, and you can be proud. I know it didn't go your way, and I know that's something you're going to have to, you know, but that's not, you know, winning and losing is not everything. It's about competing. It's about challenging yourself against the best. And I know there will be many other great nights, and I have zero doubt that you will raise your hand and you will be world champion again. So a big applause for Robert Easter, and if you guys have any questions for him, please ask him. Robert, do you want to say a few words?
I thank everybody, you know, for coming out, supporting, being behind me. You know, Mike is a tough champion, a true warrior. You know, like I said, I brought the best out of him. He brought the best out of me. You know, unfortunately, I got the short end of the stick. You know, I'm up here looking like Martin off of, you know, when he got beat up by Tommy Hearns with the big lips. But, you know what I'm saying, it's all good. You know, we go back to the drawing board. You know, I sit down with my team and my management, and we see what the next best move is for me, you know.
Robert, the speed and right here to your right.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The speed and the length that you were showing in that first round was so impressive. It looked like you were, you know, on your way. But what did Mikey do from that point forward to really confuse the issue for you?
It was myself, you know. Like I said, I couldn't get the timing off certain shots, so that kind of made me shy away from taking back, you know, what I was doing. And like I said, that's Mikey. He beats himself. He sticks to his game plan, and he does that well.
Back here, Robert. Straight back. Over the.
Oh, Dan. What's up, Dan?
How's it going? Listen, one thing I want to ask you about, in the first couple of rounds, it seemed very evident that the game plan was to use the jab, go to the body, and you did it very, very well, it seemed like, for about the first 3 rounds. And then it just sort of went away. Was that because you just couldn't keep that up, or was it because Mikey was doing something to take you out, or did you just sort of forget about it?
Like I said, I couldn't find times with certain shots because I was trying to pick the punch count up. I was trying to pick the punch count up. I didn't want to keep fighting at the same speed, so I tried to change the speed a little bit, but couldn't really pull the trigger what I wanted to do. And like I said, Mikey stick to his game plan. I made various mistakes, and like I said, got caught with a shot, and but it was a tough fight.
One other question for you, Robert. Can you talk about the punching power that Mikey had on the knockdown? You didn't seem that hurt, but it seemed like it did catch you pretty good.
Yeah, it was. It happens in boxing. You get caught with a shot. It was a clean shot. I wasn't hurt, but I got caught with a shot. That's boxing. Yeah. I felt it. I seen it. But there you had me. Smothering my shots after I heard him, and couldn't get nothing off. I couldn't capitalize on that.
Robert, you seem pretty confident. Do you feel that you're going to get back to this stage, get a fight like this at some point in your career, considering you're still young?
No question.
Of course, no question. I got myself here, with hard work and dedication, and true champions can get themselves back up.
Okay, any other? Over there, yeah.
Hey, Robert.
I'm beating Tank and AB up in the car too because they didn't come to my training camp. So I got to fight with them. They didn't come to my training camp, so I got a bone to pick with them guys.
Robert, right here.
He's right there, AB. Hi.
Just, you've been in the ring with Mikey for 12 rounds. Just your assessment with that. How do you feel he does against Spence, if that fight were to come to fruition now?
See, Mikey, I've been in the ring with Spence too. He sparred, a few years back when I was amateurs, and Spence always had this type of power, tremendous power, and but Mikey has his mind made up. Mikey has his mind made up of going up in weight classes. But that's what boxing's for. Boxing, champions believe they can take on other champions, so there you have it. I tip my hat off to him. You seen it tonight. He was a true champion, true warrior. So, but Errol Spence, he's a different breed. He's an animal, man.
Did the news of obviously we all found out earlier this week that Mikey doesn't do sit-ups in camp. Did that news kind of affect your game plan as far as going in? Because obviously you were doing some body work early. Did that?
Yeah, but like I said, man, Mikey had a tremendous game plan, and he stuck to it. I didn't quite work the body enough. I was throwing jabs to the body, but I wasn't working it quite enough like I should have been. But he didn't have the body, but he had the fist. It was more of a clip shot, a clip shot. That punch didn't hurt me, but he has some power, But that shot wasn't the one that hurt me.
Okay, I just want to add something else as well. I've just heard, as I mentioned, what a class act Robert Easter is. He walked into Mikey's locker room on his way over here, shook the hand of every team member in Mikey's locker room and congratulated them. So that's the kind of people they are. And it's really a pleasure to work with you guys. And as I said, there will be many, many other big nights for you.
Yeah, when you going through these training camps, you training for a fighter, they the ultimate enemy, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you went 12 hard rounds, champion versus champion. You have no choice but to respect a man and his team, and that's all I wanted to show Mikey, you know what I'm saying? This is a business, that's what I told him. This is a business, we fought, we duked it out, he came out victorious, and I respect him for that.
Well, there he is. Thank you, Robert. There he is, the new unified lightweight world champion from right here, Los Angeles, Mikey Garcia. You guys have any questions for Mikey?
Yeah, Mikey, you fooled me with the body, man. You fooled me with the body, man. I thought I had me one, but like I said, Mikey's a true champion, true warrior. He brought the best out of me. I brought the best out of him, and he came out victorious.
Yeah, you definitely also brought the best out of me. You fought very well. You gave me a good fight, and you made me work. So I congratulate you on your performance also. Thanks.
Okay, I think we have a question right there from Lance Puckmeyer from the LA Times.
Mikey, congratulations. This fight, how does it lend itself to a possible move up to welterweight against Spence? What did you take from tonight that really proves that point? You can do it.
Well, I always look for the biggest challenges. I'm looking for the biggest fights. Ever since I came back, I wanted to, in a way, make up for the lost time. And I don't think there's any other way except fighting the best champions out there. We fought another undefeated fighter, undefeated champion tonight. There's no one else that excites me enough, that motivates me, and that can challenge me other than Errol Spence. And I'm willing to take that challenge all the way up just because that's the fight that I want. That's the fight that will motivate me the most.
Hey, Mikey, back here. Mikey, straight back.
Dan, right field.
Hey, congratulations on the win tonight. When you talk about Errol Spence, he came over and he spoke to some of us at ringside after the fight, and we asked him what he thought about it. And when he was concluding his remarks, he said he was licking his chops. He gave you respect for being a top-notch fighter, but it seemed like he didn't think that your size would translate to where he's at. What do you think about the fact that you're both tremendous fighters, but that he's so much bigger than you?
No, that's a challenge. I am moving up all the way to welterweight. If I land that fight, it'll be my first attempt at welterweight, and I'm going against the top guy there, against the best in the division. I'm prepared to take on that challenge. Like I said, I'm here to challenge myself, and he is the best. He might feel that it's, an easy fight for him, where I'm too small. Well, that's fine. Let's get in the ring and let's get to work.
I'd like to ask Robert Garcia about that also. Robert, I know that you've had, in past statements, had some misgivings about the prospect of Mikey going up to welterweight. Can you expound on that now that it seems though it's going to probably become a reality at the end of this year?
Look, we've always said that we shouldn't move too fast and take that challenge right now because, we're doing great at lightweight and even junior welterweight. But that's what Mikey wants, and we know that he does have the skills. He has the talent to compete. It's not going to be easy. And Mikey said before, he loves those challenges, and this will probably be the first fight that he's ever had where he's going to be the underdog, and I think that's what's going to motivate him even more. That's why he's willing to take things. So I'm from now on, we're going to take the fight.
Just give it up for Robert Easter. He's leaving.
Like I said, thank everybody for coming out. Thank Team Mikey Garcia, true champion, true warrior. Thank everybody from LA and everywhere else. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, we exchanged punches on several occasions. On one occasion, I remember he landed a good right hand to the head. It didn't hurt me, but he felt that he might have hurt me, and he came on the attack, so I had to defend. I got to, be careful. I got to block. But I would come back. He's a fighter. He fights, and there's moments, we're in a fight. You are expected to get hit once in a while.
Mikey, when you heard him that early in the fight and you had him down in the third round, over here.
Yes.
When you had him down in the third round, did you feel that you were going to finish him and be able to knock him out in the fight?
No, not right away there. He got up. He wasn't completely hurt. I caught him with a good right hand, and then that left hook that put him down. but he wasn't out. You know, I could see it in his eyes. I could see it in his body. You know, he was wide awake. It's not like he was, you know, to the point where I could finish him off. I tried to land a few other punches throughout the fight, and I think I might have hurt him with a body shot at one time, but it was towards the end of the round, and you know he was game. He survived. Then he focused more on just surviving and defending himself, and made it a little more complicated for me. Up until the 12th round, I was still landing some good shots, and I still try to land some good headshots in the last and final round, but. You know, I didn't feel enough damage was done to try to put him out.
Did you feel that he kind of went into survival mode in the second half of the fight?
There's a few rounds where he did. I think he went a little more defensive. You know, I don't know if you want to call that survival mode. Maybe he was a little hurt from that body shot, or maybe he felt a punch upstairs that might have hurt him. And he's smart. He's a champion. He wanted to, survive, get his bearings again, and I mean he made it to the 12th round. I felt coming into the fight, I felt, and we all thought, he was going to try to use that jab and use that reach. So we were prepared for that. He really wasn't snapping it hard. He was just, throwing it out there. So I just had to wait for the right time, the right distance, and range for me to be able to land. I landed some good jabs on him, even though he had the reach. I was able to time it perfectly and land a solid jab. And I think he respected that enough because he would move back.
Do you see any similarities? You see, obviously, Errol's at 147. Do you see any similarities in his style between Easter?
Look, I think it's a different fight. Errol Spence, the southpaw, he bangs to the body a lot. It's a different fight. This guy Easter was fighting, trying to use that distance, but it's just a whole different fighter.
Yeah. Robert, question for you in the back here. Lomachenko is a top-ranked fighter, and we know the history there with Mikey and with Top Rank. You've been doing a lot of those top-ranked shows recently. Have you had any conversations with the people there about kind of thawing those problems and advancing towards, Mikey and Lomachenko?
Not with Bob Arum or Todd, but I do with a lot of other people that work for Top Rank, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. Most of them tell me Mikey will beat Lomachenko, and that's probably why if the fight ever happens, it's gonna be whenever it's so big where it has to happen. But as of now, that's what Mikey doesn't even consider chasing that fight because we know that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Robert, Mikey, buenas noches. Antes que nada, muchas felicidades por la gran actuación. Y esta pregunta va de parte de campeones y excampeones del mundo que me pidieron que le hiciera. Dicen que no vayas por Spence, muchos campeones y excampeones, que vayas por Lomachenko, porque definitivamente ganándole a él merece ser el número 1 libra por libra. La pregunta es para los dos, por favor.
Mira, yo pienso que es la pelea en ligero que será la más grande, una pelea contra Lomachenko, pero siendo realistas con las promociones y las diferencias de canal y todo, se complica mucho. Si él está dispuesto a pelear conmigo, que yo sé que él sí está dispuesto, tiene que pedírselo a su promotor, a Top Rank, que nos hablen y nos sentaremos a platicar y discutir esa posibilidad. A mí me encantaría una pelea con él.
Perdón, Robert, si puedes contestarnos la pregunta, por favor.
Sí, exactamente como lo comenté hace rato. Mira, pelearle a Lomachenko fuera lo ideal, fuera lo mejor, lo que yo preferiría hacer, porque sé que es una pelea grandísima, especialmente en peso liguero. No es un peleador grande como lo es Errol Spence, pero la realidad es que no se va a hacer. No se va a hacer, menos ahorita la que sigue no se va a hacer. Así que tendremos que seguirlo esperando quizá un año y medio más. Y mientras, ¿qué vamos a hacer?
Claro.
No hay nada más en ligero para Mikey. Así que lo más posible es que vamos buscando otros retos más grandes. Y un día, si de aquí a un año y medio, 2 años, es la pelea suficientemente grande para hacerla, entonces va a ser, pero en estos momentos no creo que se haga.
Mikey, finalmente, ¿qué le dices a todo el pueblo mexicano, la raza que literalmente atiborró el Staples Center? La verdad que te apoyaron mucho. ¿Qué le dices a la raza?
Me recibieron muy bonito, me da mucho gusto que me hayan venido a apoyar. Estoy muy contento con ese recibimiento. Muy feliz de estar de regreso aquí y pues en realidad quedé admirado. Me brindan de emoción en realidad cuando estoy saliendo y que miro que todo el público. Ese es un sentimiento muy especial. Les doy muchas gracias a todos por ese apoyo.
Mikey, para los dos, volviendo a la pelea esta noche, mi puntuación fue 107 a 120, no vi ganar un solo round a Robert Mr. Jr. Pero no te faltó un poquito, porque él no presentó pelea, él no hizo nada por ganar. Tú forzaste la pelea desde el principio, fuiste para adelante, pero no te faltó tirar más al cuerpo.
Había ocasiones donde se presentaba quizás una oportunidad, pero para poder trabajar bien al cuerpo necesitaba yo que él se parara a medio ring. Cuando estaba moviéndose es más difícil cuando se mueve. Y aunque lo llevé a las cuerdas en ocasiones, se movía y se quitaba, entonces no hubo tanta posibilidad. En una ocasión sí le pegué un buen gancho al hígado que parece que lo lastimé poquito, pero fue al final del round y sobrevivió y después ya menos se paraba.
Yo pienso que hizo una pelea, en realidad Easter Jr. hizo una pelea inteligente, una pelea difícil, supo usar mucho su alcance, no fue fácil, se nos dificultó porque 5 pulgadas de estatura y 8 de alcance, o sea, tuvieron un buen plan en realidad, su entrenador, su equipo, supieron hacer un buen trabajo, obviamente no pudieron vencer a Mikey, pero sí tenían un muy buen plan de pelea. No, pero a mí Chico me noqueó. Pues es zurdo Errol Spence y en realidad no es igual de alto que Easter, así que en realidad no tiene yo creo nada de parecido a la pelea.
Yeah, hold on there, Dylan Hernandez.
I'm not sure if this is for Mike or maybe for Richard. When you guys look ahead to a fight with Spence, are you guys looking at pay-per-view in Vegas, or if not, what are maybe some of the other options?
Well, it definitely is a pay-per-view fight. I mean, it's one of the biggest fights you can make. It's like a dream matchup, almost too good to be true. Definitely pay-per-view. And I do like to. I think for pay-per-view, Las Vegas is the perfect place. But I do believe with this huge turnout Mikey had tonight here, as I mentioned, it was slightly bigger than what we had for Morris and Santa Cruz. But for Mikey to come back here after 7 years, I mentioned it before, Los Angeles Staples Center has its 4th franchise here. After the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Kings, they have the Garcias now. Mikey Garcia, and I think this building here is going to see much more of Mikey Garcia. Well, Mikey is his own boss, so Mikey will be calling the shots, and I think the good foundation is that Mikey and Errol Spence both seem to want to have the fight. They both have the same advisor, so we'll see how quickly it can be put together. But usually when 2 fighters want to fight, 2 fighters who are in control of their own destiny, it's relatively easy to get stuff done.
Mikey, over here.
I'm
back. In the first couple of rounds, Robert got his punches in, jabs to the body, but in the second and third round, you started to look a little more comfortable, and once you got the knockdown, starting the 4th round, you kind of look a little more lively, had a more spring in your step. Did that knockdown kind of help alleviate a little bit of the pressure when it comes to fighting Robert?
I like to be patient early on in my fights anyways. First couple rounds, I'm feeling my opponent, finding that distance, that range, feeling his speed, his power. So it was just a matter of time before I started to get on the attack, get my rhythm going. It just so happens that I knocked him down in that 3rd round, but I started getting that rhythm going, and after I noticed that I could hurt him and I felt that I was starting to take control, that was it. There was no turning back, no walking back.
lastly, and obviously you want to fight Errol Spence all the way at 147, and winning that title would give you a world title in 5 different weight classes. What does that mean for you, legacy-wise, to join an extremely elite and exclusive class of fighters winning a world title in 5 different weight classes?
Well, that's why I'm trying to get that, because there's only a select few and only the greats, have accomplished that feat. I'm here in search of that, and I'm not just trying to pick up a belt against nobody, against someone that just happens to be a champ. I'm going against the best. I'm trying to get the best fighter, the most, just dangerous man at welterweight. I'm trying to get that, because that's what I think it will, cement my name and put that, stamp of approval for everybody. No one else will be doing that. No one else is doing that right now. There's no other fighter on this planet doing what I'm doing.
It's, as I said, dare to be great. Dare to be great. Very few do that.
Richard, you said it's one of the biggest fights that could be made. How many pay-per-view buys do you expect this could generate? I know you've broken down the numbers a million times by now, I'm sure.
I love to do pay-per-views, and I'm usually pretty accurate with my, with my estimations. So I think this is going to be a big, big, big pay-per-view, and I'm not going to tell you how many yet, but, I always promote pay-per-views. I want to break records, and, so we're going to do a big number with that.
And a question for Robert and Mikey. We've seen fighters in the past, like Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins, utilize like a conditioning guru, like a Mackie Shilstone, when they go up for a high-profile fight at a greater weight. Would you bring in someone like that, or not him in particular, but just some kind of like strength and conditioning guru?
Look, it's kind of different the way things work with especially with Mikey. I said it to a few people before. This is like one of the first training camps that Mikey starts doing sit-ups. Maybe that's the start. Maybe that's the start to get himself to a welterweight. He hardly ever does sit-ups or pull-ups or push-ups or none of that stuff. He does his running. He runs very hard, and when we're in the gym, we do a lot of rounds of sparring. That's pretty much what what our training camp is about. The rest is something that we've never really used with Mikey. So it'd be something that moving up to welterweight, something that we would probably consider and maybe talk about before before I make a decision. It'll be between me, Mikey, my father, and the rest of the team. See what we decide to do.
Yeah.
Well, I don't do a whole lot of physical training like that, but I think we'll have to use a little more and implement some different exercises, because I am going to be moving up all the way to welterweight. So I think the main thing would be the diet, change the way we eat, and maybe implement a little more, physical core training for that.
And then also, obviously you're a great boxer, but Spence is as a big 47 who could even fight at 54. Like, how much muscle would you have to possibly add on to just deal with his strength and power?
There's other things that I can try to use. I can try to use speed. I can try to use angles. I can footwork. There's a lot of things that I can, use to overcome that height, that reach, the southpaw, the strength, all that. I'm prepared to do whatever it takes, to compete and win that fight as well.
Mikey, when Spence visited us at ringside, he said he wants to do this fight this year. And he mentioned November. That might be a pretty quick turnaround. Would you be willing to do it as early as November?
Well, I said I wanted to do before the end of the year. November's before the end of the year. I was thinking, November, December. It's not too far off. If we land on a date that we can, compromise there, I think we can have a good training camp, enough time. And that's all that it takes. If we set a date that allows both of us to train, well for it, I have no problem. He kept bending towards his right, so my right hand would actually come down and land a couple of times. It was hard for me to land it when he was standing straight up. Sometimes I'd miss, But it's just the timing. I had to figure out the right time for me to let go of that right hand. That left hook that dropped him came after a right hand. As he was pulling back, I caught him with a left hook. On other occasions, I landed a good left hook. I mean, we were ready to do whatever it takes, and we practiced a lot in the gym. And, we knew it was just about getting that right distance, that right range, so that I could let go of my hands.
And for Mikey, there's been a lot of talk about, you haven't faced a fighter that big, but Spence also to this point has only faced really like Kell Brook, right? As far as like a world-class fighter, he hasn't faced a boxer like you. And I know you keep saying that you've seen something in his game. Do you think that he'd be in for a surprise as far as your boxing ability and angles and footwork and those sort of things?
He's a terrific fighter. He's an experienced fighter, and he's very strong. He's a dangerous man. So I don't know if I can surprise him. I think he's got the experience. He knows the kind of fighter I am. But I think what will surprise him is how well I can do other things. If you're standing on the outside, everybody can just see a simple guy, just straight 1, 2. Nothing special about that. Ask any of my opponents what they feel after the fight. Is it easy? Was it like they expected? I think they'll all tell you it wasn't what they expected. I think the IBF has its own regulations and laws on that, so I got nothing to ask. I ain't asking for no catch weight either.
Whatever we say is not going to change Mikey's idea, of fighting Errol Spence. So we're going to go for it. We've talked to my dad, and my dad tells me earlier today, after the fight in the locker room, says, contact Manny Pacquiao. My dad would rather go after Manny Pacquiao. He's a WBA champion, and but that just doesn't interest Mikey. I think we're going to go straight into Errol Spence.
I think we already started talking about that, and I think that fight belongs in Vegas. A big fight like that, I think, belongs in Vegas. It just, it's a huge attraction, big fight, and I don't think that there's any other better venue for it.
Well,
I think I did very well. I think I overcame the height and reach. I did well. I hardly got hit. A couple jabs, you're boxing, but overall, I didn't get hit with solid punches. I wasn't hurt, and I hurt my opponent several times. Body shots upstairs, I dropped them. I don't think I could have done much more. If I had stopped them, obviously that would have been probably a better ending to the fight, but you saw me 12 rounds. You saw me adjust. You saw me use my feet at times. You saw me fight on the outside. You saw me fight on the inside. I think I did, great.
it was a masterful performance, and please give it up for Mikey Garcia, now the unified lightweight world champion. Thank you.
Thank you. 7 o'clock.